Amenadiel is the peak masculine man. He has a masculine relationship where he is polarized with his woman. He's dominant, aggressive, goal-driven. He provides for his woman. He protects his woman. He can fight. He has confidence. Billy, on the other hand, is a little weirdo. Billy is feminine. Billy likes to cry and complain to his girlfriend and talk about all of his problems. In addition to this, Billy's always with his girlfriend. So in return, Billy gets no feminine qualities. That includes warmness and happiness. Instead, his woman is constantly trying to make the money in the relationship and figure out where they're going to go. She has to fill the masculine role. This is also known as the mommy role in the relationship, when a woman is filling the masculine role. By nature, no woman wants to fill the mommy role. I've asked multiple women if they would like to fill the mommy role and if they would like to be the mom to their boyfriend. And all of them have said no. This is because, by nature, women are feminine. So what is polarity? In polarity, there is a masculine and there is a feminine force. It's kind of like a spectrum, so there is a balance in the middle. The balance is more of they both like to argue and they both like to apologize, while the masculine side is the one that usually apologizes and is the dominant, aggressive one, whilst the feminine is the one that likes to cry and be emotional. Masculine energy in a relationship is someone that likes to be dominant and to provide and protect. When you see masculine men in relationships, you see them being goal-driven, and that's because being goal-driven is a masculine trait. Providing is key in your relationship. If you're a masculine man, you're going to want to come home to a wife that is happy. And feminine women want to be able to do whatever they want. They don't want to have to work and provide the money. Protection is also a vital element in a masculine and feminine relationship. That's because the woman wants to be able to know that she's going to be protected no matter what. So in any situation, you should be able to fight someone off until the death. This will also give you an unbelievable amount of confidence because you know that you can fight someone and that if it comes down to that you would win. Being masculine in a relationship is wanting to be free. So chasing freedom. That means economically, physically, in any way possible, you want to be free and make sure that your loved ones are free too. This is why when men get rich, they want to provide for their mothers or they want to provide for their wives and their kids. Feminine energy is more of a loving essence. They're going to be focusing on the love in their relationship and going to be more emotional in turn. Being feminine means to be warm and happy almost all the time. This is why when a weak man that wants the feminine attributes of a woman but does not want to provide masculine attributes, he will say things such as, "Why are you nagging me so much?" And he's saying that because he doesn't see any loving feminine energy from his wife, so he turns to drugs and alcohol to fill his void of happiness in his life. To be feminine, you must be able to take in a lot of emotion and also give out a lot of emotion. So men love you crying. That's because you're showing so much emotion in that moment. It's honestly beautiful. But they also want you to be happy. This is because they want to come home to let out the stresses of their day and rest their head on your chest with a warm embrace. Now we will go into how to actually be masculine. For you to be masculine, you must be the top 10% of men, because if you cannot protect and provide, then you're going to get nowhere in a relationship. Therefore, before getting into a relationship, you must upgrade your character in real life, so that you can provide and protect for the feminine energy. Masculine energy is all about being purpose-driven and goal-oriented. This is where the term absence makes the heart grow fonder comes from, because the longer time that you spend away from her on your goals and on your mission, the more she wants to tear you to shreds when she sees you. Feminine energy is more of making decisions based off of emotion rather than logic. Whatever she's feeling in the moment is probably the decision that she's gonna make. This is why she says, "I hate you," or something that she doesn't mean, and then she apologizes seconds later. In addition to sometimes her saying things based off of emotion, sometimes she will also say things that she does not mean at all. So when she says, "I don't want to go to Chick-fil-A," and she truly wants to go to Chick-fil-A, that's your job as a man to come in and make that decision. That's why weak men will usually say things like, "She never says what she wants." Use her feminine energy to get to a goal. David Deida, the author of The Way of a Superior Man, says in his book that the feminine energy is like an ocean, and your job as a man is to be the boat that harnesses the winds and the ravenous waves to get to shore. Only when you can successfully harness your emotions can you actually have a feminine essence in your life. Because if you cannot control your emotions, then in arguments, Both of you will be yelling and screaming like children, and then no one will be left to fill the masculine role in the relationship, which will never end well. Being dominant, aggressive, purpose-driven, goal-oriented is the way of a masculine man. And finally, we'll get into the obstacles that will be in your path to having a polarized relationship. In today's world, it is very hard to have a polarized relationship, especially if you live with your parents. To start off with, you have hyper masculinized women. Don't get me wrong, that's completely men's fault. TikTok e-boys and feminine men that these young girls are attracted to are like a plague. They give off the impression that they're masculine to these young girls by ignoring them, and then they end up cheating or ghosting them. Now that all these feminine girls have been cheated on and have been put against society, they put up these barriers of masculinity. Now, as a man, your job is to break down these barriers and take these masculinized women and make them feminine once again. Now, this is the hard part. Since you don't know if it's the barriers that are putting off this masculine impression or if it's just her being masculine by nature, you must take a deep dive into her personality. You can fix barriers, you cannot fix a masculine woman. Now, if you do manage to break down these barriers, now you will have to worry about her friends. 97% of the women that you meet are going to be masculine. So after you've broken down her barriers, now you will have to deal with her friends' barriers also, which you cannot break down. So you must get her away from these masculine friends and try to reintroduce her into more feminine friends. Now, if you've managed to make it this far into the relationship, now you have to deal with parents. Now, if she's over 18, you mustn't worry about her parents, because if you're both consenting adults, they have no say in your relationship. If you're a teenager, it's going to be a little bit harder. Parents have become so depolarized nowadays that they will not understand your relationship, which will cause a lot of problems. They will say things about how she used to be argumentative and aggressive and how she has now changed. This is just their perception of the barriers that she has previously put up, not only because of her father and her relationship, potentially, but also because of the men that have broken her heart in the past. If you are under the age of 18, I would consider reevaluating your relationship and seeing if it's actually worth it to stay with this girl, because you will go through a lot of baggage to get to the prize. And if you do decide it's worth it, then you must mask your relationship to your parents' needs until you're 18. Because if you do try to go with the polarized relationship, they will try to break you down despite loving you. This is because they don't think it's logical or it's possible. Just like the fat guy on the internet that says you can't run 100 miles, they will say that you cannot have a polarized relationship because they do not understand it. If the person is worth it, then you must be persistent and fight for the love that you have newly gained. Once you have gotten past these obstacles, you can then trade your decisive, dependable, providable love for her feminine, warming, loving energy. Trust me, it's worth it to come home every day to have a warm, feminine embrace. I hope this information helped you guys, and I'll see you next video.